So I've been wanting to share this welcome for some time now. So welcome to Be the Cause, a course that I took back in 1993, I believe, and then taught for at least a decade in person. And it is often the foundation to much of my practice and teachings and writings, and which include my books. I find the material in this course continually, consistently helpful. One of the most important lessons it gives, kind of an overarching lesson throughout, is trusting our personal experience and how to trust our personal experience and recognizing what is our experience and what is not our experience. What is ours to be responsible for and what is not ours to be responsible for? We can only be responsible for one, that which is in front of us right now in this moment. But also, as empaths or highly sensitive people, psychics, we often take on the energies, the emotions, the attitudes of those others around us, and particularly those that we're in relationship with. So being able to know the difference and having these tools to know the difference between what's mine and what's not mine helps me answer that question, what am I truly responsible for? It also gives us the means to be the cause of our life rather than the effect of our life, rather than continually reacting and even in some ways responding to external events and people. We learn how to respond from the inside out, and we learn to respond from who is truly us in the moment. What is me? What makes up this me in this moment? I'm certainly not saying that this class is the only one that offers this material. There are boundless books, teachers, psychological practices, spiritual practices that encourage you to be the cause of your life, encourage you and invite you to trust your personal experience. So all I know is that this course has done that for me and has done that for countless other people. Another important thing about this course is to take what works for you and leave the rest. It is based on the oral tradition, so that I pass it down as well as I can from what I heard. But of course, it was channeled through me and my personality, my biases, my perspectives. And I heard what I heard, which is an important part of an oral tradition is you get to trust what you hear. You get to take what you hear and use it in a way that is meaningful and suits you, is meaningful to you and suits you, instead of any dogma, instead of any sense of, I got to get this right, any sense that if I don't get this right, I'm in trouble psychologically or spiritually. In fact, this course helps free you of that kind of dogma, either approaching things dogmatically or accepting things that are dogmatic. So you become the cause of your life by developing and exploring these practices and teachings in this course. They are sequential, they do build on each other. There's a lot of information to explore. And I use that word intentionally, to explore, to be curious about, to see what it means to you, to ask these questions that are presented in the material. And then to walk through your day-to-day life and with these questions and explorations and see what wisdom comes to you. Notice how this builds your intuition. Notice how you're able to answer that question more and more, what's mine and what's not mine. A lovely consequence also is being less reactive and more responsive, more settled, more, I like the word serenity. Instead of going for happiness, being happy, I like the idea of going for serenity, being serene, being grounded, having that certainty and clarity in ourselves, in our experiences. That's what the lessons in this class offer us. I came to this course material when I lived in Minneapolis, and I finally went to therapy myself. I was in my 30s and had been a therapist basically since I was 27. And fortunately had this realization and experiences in my life that I needed therapy. So I went to therapy, found an awesome therapist, and pretty much within one of the few first weeks of therapy, he recommended I take this course by Colleen Brenzy. And at the time it was called Psychic Development. And I consider it, it enriched my life so much, I really can't, express that enough. And is a reason I'm offering this course is so that I can pass this on. I offer it at a very inexpensive price, and I don't turn anybody away. If somebody's not able to afford it, you just contact me and we work something out. I want to get this material out. And you get to use it however you want. You can teach the course if you want. You can use it, of course, use it in your personal life, in personal relationships and explorations, but you can use it in whatever way suits you. I don't own it. I don't possess it. Well, maybe I own it, but I own it like a piece of furniture, and I'm loaning it out. And you can use it how you want. So that pretty much shifted the course of my life internally and externally in all positive ways. I'm not saying not messy. I'm not saying that sometimes having more awareness and clarity isn't all pain-free. So sometimes there's a different kind of pain that comes with it, but it's always workable pain. A lot of this course gives you a use of semantics that really helps resonate with our truer nature. So for example, talking about pain and experiencing pain is different than being hurt. And this is one of the lessons, or part of a lesson in the course, is understanding the difference between hurt and pain. Hurt is something, it's kind of a victim energy. It's like you hurt me, or I'm being hurt and there's nothing I can do about it. And where pain is a more transformative energy, more transformative emotion. So that I'm just giving you a little snippet of that. A few segments are on emotional integrity, emotional wisdom, emotional consciousness, and that's very helpful to know our emotions and be able to be tuned into them, but not controlled by them. So there's just so much, you can peek at the list, see what appeals to you. I recommend that you take the course, start at the beginning and go through the whole course. Try not to give up. Often when we're halfway at something, the halfway point is a deal breaker time. It's kind of when people drop out of things, when things tend to get difficult. The troublemakers, the deal breakers tend to show up halfway. So if you find yourself halfway through the class, consider just moving through that resistance and difficulty, and at least do the next segment, and then check in again to see if you want to continue the course. I am here. I do respond to your emails as you're in the course. I take a certain day off the week to respond to the emails in this course. So know that I am present. And soon I'll be offering live sessions to answer questions, to give a teaching that resonates with the various lessons throughout the course. I also do my own take on things. So, but I do separate those, or give you a heads up that this is my take on something. So, for example, the lessons on chakras, I give you my take on chakras. So that way I'm not just giving my take without you knowing that. I'm separating out what I received as an teaching, and then how I interpreted it and how I pass it on. So you'll know that that's in the written form of the course. There's here's my take. Sometimes my video teachings will give you my take, or I'll give you a new or another updated version of a teaching or practice. As I practice I borrow from other traditions like the Toltec, their breathing practices can be really helpful. And that wasn't taught in my original class. So I will sometimes give additional, and you'll know that there are additional teachings to the material that's foundational in Be the Cause. Again, originally it was a psychic development course. And then finally, what drew me to this before I went into therapy was my being a highly sensitive person, and I will call myself psychic. Again, that doesn't make, and this is in the first segment and lesson of the course, is psychic doesn't make you special in the good way necessarily. It doesn't make you spiritual. It doesn't make you a good person. It just means you're highly tuned in or highly sensitive. And psychic to me means that now means to me, or has come to mean to me, seeing beyond the veil, seeing beyond the what's the obvious, being tuned into that. And I will say it was not pleasant at all in my throughout my childhood, throughout my adolescence. Being highly sensitive, being empathic and psychic was actually very difficult. I didn't know how to walk in the world as so empathic and so highly sensitive in a psychic way, and feel safe. And I also lacked some integrity around it, not knowing, first, not having a name for it, and secondly, not having any skills or teachings on how to be psychic and highly sensitive in the world. So all throughout my life, as young as I can remember, and my spiritual journey started at about 8 years old, I always had the sense that I had a sister, there's a family member missing in all the gatherings. It constantly nudged at me. And finally, when I was around age 27, my father, who's no longer with us, he visited me in Minneapolis, which is was a rare thing. It was the only time he did, and he never did after that. He never had before. But he happened to he had a contact in the Twin Cities. So we met for dinner. And another unusual thing about this meeting was that he was sober. He tended to drink. He'd be considered a high functioning alcoholic. Ultimately, in the end, it did kill him, in my view. And so, but he was sober. He was like one of the best versions of himself. And I was having this rare experience of being with my dad when that was not often afforded me. So I asked him if I had a sister, if he had another family, and he was in that space where he said yes. He validated my intuition, which was, of course, life-changing for me. And I share more of that story in another video in the course, but that woke me up to, whoa, something is going on here. I still didn't have a name for it. I had more sense of trusting my intuition. He validated my experience over the years of having the sense of having a sister who happened to be, so a half sister who was about 6 or 7 years younger than me. So then when I went into therapy, and then my therapist recommended psychic development course, everything started falling into place. And so it's with a great and grateful heart that I share this course with you. And again, I won't turn anyone away. I'm grateful for the payment for the course. Of course, it helps me live. It helps pay for the rent and all that good, or mortgage and all that good stuff. And yet, please do know that if money ever becomes a problem, even once you started the course, just get in contact with me and say, I can't afford the next few segments. Can I still take it? And my answer will be absolutely yes. So I'm here. I hope you consider taking the course, exploring it, seeing if it helps you in the ways, in similar ways that it helped me, or in your own ways. Please email me if you have any questions about the course or about my experience with the course. And blessings. Bye-bye.